Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
And I'm D White.
Today on the new party, we're going to be discussing why I'm a Black Republican. So, those of you that may or may not know that watch our show, I am a registered independent. D White is a Black Republican, and Gray Mars is a Democrat. But I would say a lot of my views do align with the Republican Party. So, we're going to talk about clips from a documentary that came out. This Mother Nature, what's his name? Mother Earth. What's his name? Gray?
Something, Mother Nature or something. Nature or
Mother
something.
something. Yeah, he did a video and he talks about why Black Republicans are Republican, and he broke it down. So let's watch his first clip.
Talking to Black Republicans, I found that their most consistent ideological North Star was an emphasis on personal responsibility. For those I spoke to, there was a real value for rigid individualism as opposed to collective progress and identity. Take Topher, for example. He's a Christian rapper, has millions of followers online, and believes, according to him, in an individualistic approach to progress for Black people.
And that's one reason why I'm pro-Trump and I'm a conservative, is because I truly believe in the individualistic approach to the problems that we see within the Black community or in America as a whole. And you can think about it, Black Wall Street, Harlem Renaissance, all that time, we was doing great. But when the policies came in and started destroying the Black community slowly and slowly. Matter of fact, it was supposed to get rid of poverty or at least lessen it, but we have more poverty now than we had back then.
I think you'll notice a theme of dissonance present in these interviews. On the one hand, for example, Topher endorses an individualistic approach to solving the problems we face as a community. But on the other hand, he points to Black Wall Street.
So D, do you think that Topher can still use Black Wall Street and examples like that as to why he's a Black Republican?
I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think what he was trying, but that's exactly what I'm going to do. But what I think he was trying to articulate was that back in those times, before we had all the government assistance, Black people were self-sufficient at a very high level. And no one can take that away from him because that is the fact. Before the white people, which policies didn't destroy Black Wall Street, white people did, angry white people. So let's just say that.
Exactly.
Yeah, they came in, they burnt the place down, bombed and all that good stuff, and that's what got rid of Black Wall Street. But like I said, I think he was just trying to articulate it. He just maybe didn't do it correctly.
Right, and I think that Larry Elders, like who started this whole talk about the Black family being back together and Black-owned businesses and things like that. But I feel like Martin Luther King and the way that he tried to have this utopia, I think it was a better direction with working with white people, because Black people only 15% of this country. So like us being able to marry outside of our race, work with other people, I feel like that actually gave more opportunity. And I feel like Clarence Thompson is another person that tries to say, oh, it should be the individual and not the group as a collective. So my question to you guys is that how y'all see it, that it's an individual path, not on the group?
Yeah,
I definitely think it should. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I definitely think it should be the individual. When white people vote, they don't vote for the group, or I'm gonna do this for all white people. They do it for their individual interests most of the time. It's very rare that you hear them say, oh, I'm going to do this for one block of people.
Yeah, I disagree with Martin Luther King's approach. I mean, not him as a person, and I know that he fought for civil rights, and he wanted to be equal. He wanted to be included. He wanted to have the right to go inside the white diner and to go eat food. But I'm that exact opposite. I feel like this is America, and as long as you're not doing anything that cause me harm, that if I don't want to serve you, I shouldn't have to. If a white person would have told me, hey, you can't come here and spend your money with me, that's fine. I'll take it down the street and spend it with a Black person. And I think that it really hurt us a lot because we felt the need to be accepted so bad that we forego and gave up on all our own stuff. We gave up on all our own restaurants. We gave up on our own hospitals, our own schools. And then we let the people who were oppressing, we begged the people who were oppressing us to hey, can you please teach my kids? I'm going to give you the most precious thing in the world to me, my children. I'm going to send them to your schools and let you teach them, even though you hate them. And, I just think that was a real bad way to go about it.
Well, I think the reason why is because there was true inequity. Like you begged your kids to go to those schools because they had the better text. I mean, come on, D. We're from South Florida. Think where we grew up. The wider schools had the better textbooks, the better facilities, the better classrooms. Even us growing up in the 90s. And I think that that's what it was. They wanted their kids to have the best education. And unfortunately, back then, and listen, 2024 today, it's still true. Back then, and even now, unfortunately, the better schools are in the white neighborhoods.
Well, you know why?
Why? Because
because black people stopped building up our own neighborhoods. We took what was given instead of continuing to build ourselves up. Everyone has to start at some point. The white people schools, even though they were better, they weren't always better. They weren't always great. They started out where they started out, and they grew into that. And just like Black Wall Street wasn't great when it but before the black people came in and built it up, just like we built that up, and there were other examples of black people being affluent or being successful around the United States at the time. It wasn't just Black Wall Street; it was happening all over the place. Had we not been begging to be included into everyone else's thing, we could have had our own. And I do believe that. Just like I know this video isn't really about the Jewish community, but that's exactly what they did. They were also persecuted when they first came here. People didn't like them either, but they stuck together, and they built up their stuff, and now they're one of the richest demographics in all America.
Well, let's play a next clip. He said some things that I absolutely don't agree with, and his logic for why he thinks, black people should not be Republicans. I'll play it and we'll talk about it.
Black Wall Street was Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Greenwood District, where black people built their own community, had their own self-sustained community, beautiful economy, making it for themselves, and white people destroyed it. Yeah. It wasn't policy. It was white people.
It wasn't white people. It was
no. Let's be very clear. It was white people. No.
It was those white people.
It was white people in that community. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And let me just say this: Elaine, Arkansas, Rosewood in Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, the Sweet Auburn District, North Nashville and Nashville, Tennessee. Each one of these communities were booming black economies where white people, not in the same place, but it was the same group of people every time, destroyed those communities. So you can't say it's policy when when black people do what they need to do and build for themselves, and white people destroy it. Yeah. So why is it that you would frame it as a policy thing?
I didn't frame it as a policy thing.
We can rewind it. You said it was
white people.
You mentioned.
So this is what I don't agree with. His thing is he's saying that we shouldn't be Republicans because white people. But guess what? There's white people in the Democratic Party, so I don't agree with that logic. D, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't even understand what he's talking about.
Me either.
Yeah, I'm a little confused.
I think what he was trying to say was that basically that black conservatives are saying that it's policy, like, oh, we're voting for Trump because it's policy. It's not about who he is, it's what he wants to pass. So his remark to him was, okay, when we had all these black communities where they were thriving, like what you were just saying, the schools and the hospital, the business, when we had these communities that were thriving, white people came in and destroyed them. So that's basically why we haven't thrived, is because of these.
You want to know what white people destroyed them? Democrats.
That's why.
What was the South? What was the South during that time?
Yeah, it was Democrats. Yeah, but
that logic is stupid. That point is mute.
The party flipped after FDR did the New Deal, and then of course with JFK and Lyndon B. Johnson with the Civil Rights Act. So that's when they changed their stances of the Ku Klux Klan Democrats to the Civil Rights Democrats.
No, I believe that's just when they felt like they had they had a way to kidnap the black vote, and it worked really well. They did a great job at it.
Well, and to like I got into a debate with somebody on X, and he was trying to tell me that the reason why he's a Democrat is because of the diversity. And so I asked him, what diversity? And he goes, race, gender, religion, something you would know nothing about. And it was some white guy telling me this. I'm like, who are you to tell me, a woman of color whose probably as diverse as you get in my background to tell me I don't know about diversity. But anyways, I'm going to say this, that's white liberals for you. And again, this is the white liberal mindset that this dude has that he's trying to push on to this young man because he's not fitting into their box. He's not a Democrat the way they want him to be, because you're black, you're supposed to be a Democrat.
That's right. How dare you think for yourself? How dare you vote for your own interests?
Right. Well, let's watch the next clip. It says, were we better under Jim Crow?
Exist because of liberal or progressive policy decisions.
But when the policies came in and started destroying the black community slowly and slowly, matter of fact, it was supposed to get rid of poverty or at least lessen it, but we have more poverty now than we had back then.
I think it's worth pointing out that this more poverty now than back then line is verifiably false. It falls in line with a theme that people like Byron Donalds have advanced continuously throughout this election cycle. The idea that we were better off in any way during the Jim Crow era.
During Jim Crow, the black family was together.
Yeah, that's right.
During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people always have been conservative-minded, but more black people voted conservatively.
It's worth noting that the black poverty rate has been falling ever since black people started receiving civil rights protections. It's almost as if these progressive policies worked.
Now, you mentioned Black Wall Street, brother, and I want to be very real.
D.
It's undeniable that black people definitely were poorer back then. No one can argue that fact. I wouldn't dare try to argue it. Black people are successful. We have a lot of black millionaires now, but black people also were together more. He is absolutely correct. The black family unit was much tighter. There were dads in most of the households. The single mother epidemic was not nearly as bad as it is now. It's like 71% of all kids live in a single mother home now in America, and that wasn't the case back then. So I think he did have some good points. What about you, Gray?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that he said, and I know we talked about it before, but I don't remember if we did a video on it. Do you guys agree that we were better off in the Jim Crow era? Do you, Nora?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't think that we're better off. I think that we had a lot more possibilities maybe to be better, because like I say, as much as I love all people, white, black, brown, Spanish, Puerto Rican, all that stuff, but I do believe that had we been forced to fend for ourselves, we would have figured it out. I do believe that with all my heart.
And I know something that Nora was upset about. She didn't get to say in the last video. You felt some type of way that Byron Donalds had a white wife, and he was saying,
"Oh, let me tell you, I defended him on that one video, but let me tell you, Byron Donalds, I'm gonna need you to come to the front of the congregation because you're talking about black people being better under Jim Crow. Now, if he would have made that, I'm sorry, I don't care who you want to marry, but if you're making comments like that, and then you're like marrying only white women, then you're part of the problem. I'm sorry, you are. You are.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you're right. We were better because we stay together as a black family. And I'm saying this as somebody that's biracial. So I don't know.
Yeah, that was my take on it.
Okay.
We'll be quiet. And Z, you can say what you want. I mean, you actually have a black partner.
Yeah, I've dated maybe one or two other races before in my life, but traditionally I've always been with a black woman. My kids are from a black woman. I'm not opposed to anybody doing whatever they see fit, but I just think that it kind of helps your argument, your pro-black argument, when you have a black partner. Not saying that you can't defend black people or love black people or be an ally or have a white person as your partner, but I just think it just helps your argument when you have a black family.
It helps your argument when you're attacking black people is all. I want to be clear. That's all I'm saying to Byron Donalds, because he likes to comment on black culture, but it's like, bro, you didn't even marry. You know what I'm saying? That's my only thing, to be clear. But go ahead, Gray.
So I'm with a Puerto Rican Italian dude. Does what I say about black issues, is it diminished?
No, to me,
Yeah.
that's not. I don't think that. I don't think it's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying that it kind of helps, you know, when you say, "Oh, I care about black families and black love and black kids and all that stuff." It kind of helps your argument.
You
I'm
said
gonna
yes,
tell you
Nora?
this because D is being PC right now. Yes, let us know in the chat what you think. Does it diminish your argument? I have black kids. I've only been with black men myself, so I mean, I'm definitely about the being black and pro black and all that, and I live true to it. I mean, and this is part of the issue that people have with Kamala Harris because she loves to talk about the black community and switching it up, but then when
Hold
prime
on, before
example,
that
her
next clip, I
white
got a
family was
question.
there last night.
Before the next clip, I got a question. So my baby mama is half black, half white. So how much do you have to be like black? Because I've had a conversation with my kids, right? Like my sister, her man is white. You know what I'm saying? So like, but my kid will be like, oh well, I'm blacker than their cousin. So what makes you fully black?
Black mama, black daddy.
Okay. What about you, Nora?
I don't agree with that. I believe that in that case, your ex-wife, because I know more about her, she is black.
Okay.
For all intents and purposes, she is black. I don't agree with that. And I do believe in the one drop rule. I believe that. I mean, I just do. I mean, because guess what? You know why I do? Let me tell you why I do. Because white people view you as black still. So, and you know, all this divisiveness about ADOS and this and that, foundational black and all this, we need to stop with that foolishness, really and truly. Because at the end of the day, white people see us all the same. They don't care about that.
Yeah, but even other blacks don't see us the same. Jamaicans don't see themselves the same as Haitians. Africans don't see themselves the same as African Americans. You know, even people in Ethiopia don't see themselves the same as people next door, the Congolese, maybe. You know what I'm saying? We've always been of. I don't.
You know why? You know who did that to us? Europeans, whites.
No, I don't believe that. Warring tribes in Africa have always been warring. Always.
I agree with D because Richard Pryor had a video where he said, yeah, we was all fighting in Africa and all the different tribes, and then we got brought over here, and now we all basically same African Americans. But I completely agree with D with like different people with African descent from other countries don't consider themselves black, like Dominicans and like all the places he named.
Yeah, but white people are the same. Russians, Russians,
no,
Italians.
They aren't. They don't see themselves the same either.
That's what I'm saying. They don't even though they're all white, they don't see themselves. Okay. Polish people don't see themselves as Russian. The Russian people don't see themselves as American. You know, they all.
But if they're in a room with us versus them, they ain't gonna stick together.
I do agree with that. I do think that out of all the races, we are the worst when it comes to teamwork. I do believe that.
My point.
Yeah. I can't say why that is, but 100% we are the worst when it comes to teamwork.
And that's why we need to stick together and stop with this foolishness. All right. Speaking of which, this segues into the next clip. It talks about why black senators are hated.
Liked and unpopular political figures within the black community for a reason. I'm pissed. Of the 4 black Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives, zero represent majority black districts. I am royally pissed. In fact, they all represent majority white districts, something they seem to be very proud of.
South Carolina is majority white, correct? Yeah, it's Scotia. My district is majority white district. Your Utah is majority white district, correct? Michigan, Florida, is your district majority white district? Well, how do we get here? Like, a lot of white people had to vote for it.
There is an obvious disconnect, and that's what I want to explore today. I wanted to know what draws a black person to identify with this Republican Party.
Trump has been for black people, regardless of what the media say for a long time.
The Bible says we perish through a lack of knowledge, right? So until you teach the people, that's the only way they're going to learn. So it's our job, me especially as a black conservative, to get out there, get on the ground, and teach these people all about the black.
So, Gray, What do you think about this video? Like, what's your comments on it?
Basically, you know, I want to know, like, for Black Republicans, the actual politicians, do they feel as if because they represent majority white districts, does that mean that racism is less there because they'll vote for a Black man to be in power? And is that, by them doing that, is that effectively helping Black people in that area because they have convinced a white population to make them a leader? What do y'all think?
Dee, do you want to go first?
I can't really speak for them, so I don't know the answer to that question. I think that what they're trying to say is that it's, you know, a lot of white people had to vote for us, so it's not, maybe America isn't as racist or as divisive as the media makes it seem, because those Black men are in high, you know, very powerful jobs and very powerful positions, you know, based on the votes that they receive from a bunch of people, not just Black people, but majority white people. You know, so that's how I look at it. And I think that brother who had the hat on at the end of the video, I think he was very right that, you know, if people don't know, you know, they need the knowledge, they need to become a little more politically aware of what's going on out here in the world, because the fact that Black people vote for Democrats at a 90% rate it's crazy. It makes no sense.
I want to comment on something. I talked about this with Gray. Last night, Oprah Winfrey was on the DNC. And, you know, I had a thought. What a hypocrite. She comes on, she talks, you know, they make it seem like America's so racist, so divisive. And I'm not saying she said that last night, but she's one of those people that made comments over the years. But the fact that she's a Black woman billionaire shows you that the American dream can happen for everybody. Number one, she was from Mississippi, so she didn't have generational wealth. So she proves that there's really no, you know, that's not a hindrance just because you have generational wealth or you don't. And three, she went on last night to say she's an independent, but she's, for the last 20 plus years, she's voted for nothing but Democrats. And what's so funny to me is the policies that the Democrats want to have in place hurt people like me and you. They don't hurt a billionaire like her. Them opening up the border, allowing in thousands and millions of people to come through. You know who it helps? Her. You know why? Cheap labor as a billionaire.
I disagree with you because Democrats are the ones talking about getting more taxes on the wealthy. And she's a billionaire, so she'll be one of the first people that has to pay more taxes if the Democrats get power. So I don't think financially that's helping her with that argument.
Well, let me tell you, the border being open doesn't hurt her. It hurts me, you, and D. Regular people. It doesn't hurt her.
Okay.
Because she will be protected by bodyguards when they come through the neighborhoods and they're robbing and doing all sorts of crimes. She'll have a job no matter what, because she's not a regular person, so it doesn't affect her when someone comes and undercuts you and they work under the table illegally. So yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, the point I'm making is these billionaire Democrats that are coming in and convincing us to vote these people in that are putting policies in that hurt us. It's like hypocrisy.
So hold on. So you're basically saying you're sick of rich people complaining?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know where I was going with that.
Okay, keep going.
That's what you said. You said she's a billionaire. She benefits. Trump is a billionaire, right? He benefits, and he complains, says America's horrible, and says the same thing. They both are saying, "Oh, do we gotta protect from each other in the world? America's so horrible."
No, she's not saying it's horrible. She's saying there's joy. Everything's so great. Like, you know, we need to be optimistic. Like the same talking points. Like, you know, like over there on the other side, they're being negative. Not one thing last night did they talk about policy and what they were going to do. They just attacked the other side and attacked Trump.
That's because they can't speak about policy. They're losing there. There is no policy. Let illegals in, print money, save Ukraine, save Israel. That's their policy. That's it. Oh yeah, and don't forget free abortions. They're giving away free abortions at the DNC.
And vasectomies.
They open up the border. They let 15 million, let's call it 15 million people in who don't believe in abortion, put them in black neighborhoods, black cities, black states, and then keep telling black people or the local population, hey, you guys shouldn't have babies anymore. We don't have enough resources to take care of everybody. You know, you should have the right to X out as many babies as you want. But we're gonna let these people come in, and they're gonna have, you know, kids by the records. They always do. They have the most Latino kids, and people, like Spanish people in America have the most kids. That is a fact. That's not something I just made up. All right, they traditionally have more kids than everybody else. So we're letting all these people in and letting them have kids, but then telling the native population, and you guys shouldn't have kids. Come over here, let me snip that baby out of you. How does that make sense? Does that make sense to you, Mr. Gray?
Well, here's the thing. I think it's a cultural difference because here, I think like we put materialistic stuff and money and success on a pedestal. So we're more likely to be like, oh no, I don't want to have 3-4 kids because it's gonna be expensive, and our divorce rate is probably higher. So for the men, it's the debilitating.
That ain't
like,
true. No,
what
these
was
people
true?
begin to divorce. They be moving on to the next, and they have 2, 3, 4 baby daddies and 8 kids.
Well, from what I've seen, like if they come from there, I've seen them be married and stand. It's not being saying stereotypes, but they be like 10, 12 of them in one house.
True.
As far as Mexicans in Florida or my area.
No, you're right. So the next clip that we're going to get into, he talks about why Black people should vote Republican. He had someone come on, a pastor.
Any Black person is this. Specifically about the Republican platform, I would say, look, do your research, right? I would say look back to 170 years ago in this state where a group of patriots stood up and they started that grand old party to stop the expansion of slavery. If a Black person said, well, Pastor, Donald Trump is racist, the Republican Party is racist, well, let's play that theme out throughout history. Let's look at who was the party of slavery, who was the party of Jim Crow, right? Who was the party of the slave codes? Well, those are Democrats. Let's have that conversation. And when you look at when the Senate was integrated, those were Black Republicans. When we look at Frederick Douglass, Black Republican. So that's on the political side, why I believe that a Black American should be willing to look at the Republican platform. In terms of my political convictions as a pastor, my conviction in my heart, a Black woman's womb is the most dangerous.
Great. I mean, Z, do you agree with that? A Black woman's womb is the most dangerous
place for a Black kid? Yes, 100%. We have abortions at one of the highest rates, if not the highest rate. There were more in the year of 2021. There were more Black babies aborted than were born. That is a wild statistic. I mean, to me, it's crazy that something like that can happen. What do you think about that?
I do think that that's a pretty high number. I haven't seen that's wild. If is it the most dangerous place for a Black child? I'm not sure, but I feel like when we looked at the census, I don't know how many years ago, the only population that dropped was the white population. So I mean, like, I know that, we want to restore the Black family, and he was talking about all the old things that the Republican Party did. Yes, to me, Abraham Lincoln is the best president of all time because of what he did for Black people. But at one point, the Republican Party changed, and they do have racist stuff attached to them. And I mean, I just feel like it's inescapable for them at this point. In the future, maybe they can, but right now I think it's very ingrained in the culture. What about you, Nora?
I mean, I don't agree with what you're saying in the sense of that is true. Black people are not growing as a percentage. We're being, if there's 100% of the pie and you are letting in all these 15, 20, 30 million people in from one particular area, I'm not trying to be racist, but South America, that pie is getting erased. So we're not growing as a people. we're only going to be then from 14 to 12% of the population. So I don't agree with you in that respect. So that's why I do have to say, I think abortion is an issue that really targets us. I mean, and also, we're not getting access to certain resources, so we're being forced to have abortions.
And think about it, man. Women, some women, you heard the songs, you've seen the vines, the memes. Women take Plan Bs like Skittles, and instead of using protection, they're just using the morning after pill. This is really hurting us because we're going to miss out on doctors, lawyers, future politicians because people are afraid to have kids. It's crazy. I mean, people line up to go. Like, I don't understand how abortion could be such a huge deal in our community, especially when the lady who came up with it, I think her name is Margaret Sanger, she said that we could use this as a way to control the Black population. She said that. The lady who came up with
my bad, me to interrupt you. My bad.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so like these girls, they not being held at gunpoint and being said, "Hey, go in there and do what you have to do, get rid of this baby." They're making this decision of saying that this is what I want to do. And I think if we force people to be parents, there are going to be a lot more damaged children than there are and families than if there's some type of option as far as people who don't want to have children. And then there's people where, there's medical issues and things like that. So, I mean, it could be a drunken night or whatever the case may be. It could be that I'm married, I got a family at home, I made a mistake, and I don't want to lose my family. I don't want to be embarrassed in my community, and I can go and do this one time and hope God forgives me. But if you don't have that option, then two families could possibly be ruined just because now this secret or now this kid has to live in this environment. I don't know who my father is. And he was married and basically told and then I found out later on who this person is. But I'm glad that I exist and I feel like I got some sort of success. But even with Ancestry, where you see these people do like all this DNA testing and then they find out, oh, this parent's not my parent, this parent's not my parent. So I think it gets extremely messy in the family dynamic with having children.
Well, I think that JD Vance made good points. It doesn't have to be messy. There needs to be more resources for people with children. Like he said it. He said he feels like people with children should have more votes, but he's also saying that they have more of a stake in this country. So, I mean, now what it needs to equate over to is more like tax write-offs, more benefit. I mean, the fact is, folks, we're not growing as a country, which is why they're letting over these millions of people in. And, the next thing we know, we're going to be like Greece, an aging population and no young people to support it.
Yeah, Greece, Japan, Russia, it's happening everywhere. And it's the mindset that's the problem. It's not just abortion. It's the fact that we don't see abortion as a problem. We see abortion as just another thing, another procedure, getting a tooth pulled. It's right. Nothing anymore. It didn't used to be like that. It used to be very frowned upon for a woman to get pregnant outside of wedlock and all that great stuff. And it didn't happen as often. Now people it's not taboo anymore. It's just so okay to go down there, spend your $500, $600, how much ever it costs, and pull, get rid of it. And I think that we need to figure out a way to fix that first.
Well,
right.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I don't want to keep it. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say this last clip. I'm sure you're going to love this one, Gray. Talks about Black Republicans being grifters.
Is politically expedient rather than doing what is right. Doing whatever they need to do to get that all expenses paid trip to fancy places. I couldn't help but wonder if some of the folks I was talking to fit that description. So I asked Pastor Lorenzo whether or not he was a grifter.
In my reporting, I've spoken to Clay Kane, who wrote a book about grifters, how sometimes Black Republicans will align themselves with political power for their own personal advantage.
Sure.
What do you say to a person who says, hey, like, you're a talented, gifted person, but we didn't necessarily know who you were, but now you're speaking on one of the biggest platforms in the world tonight?
Quite frankly, I don't need another opportunity to speak. Has the Republican Party said, Lorenzo, we're going to write you a big check? No. If they did, it's just going to go right to the community anyway, right at the end of the day, because that's where my salary goes.
You've mentioned Frederick Douglass and others from the 1800s, early 1900s. In those times, black Republicans were elected by black people.
Sure.
Today, black Republicans, they're elected in majority white districts.
Agreed.
Why is it?
Do you think they're grifters? Gray, I'll let you go first.
I mean, do I think this channel would be as successful if there wasn't two Republican people we were talking about right-wing views on here? No, I think so. I do think that it is monetary gain within that field if you're black because it's rare. Like, you look at business as supply and demand. If it's more demand, low supply, the more expensive it's going to be. So do I feel like black Republicans, someone like a Tim Scott, is sometimes used as a shield for the Republican Party, used as a token person to speak? Absolutely. And they get some type of monetary gain from that. Whether it's him or Clarence Thomas, I do believe that's true.
I don't agree. Let me tell you, to be a black Republican, I deal with it in my house. Like, my mom is so angry that I'm voting for Trump. And D, you talk about it. If you certain people in your family, I'm not gonna say who, would die if they know you said the things you say.
Yeah,
so
my grandma.
the attack
She
that
just told me.
yeah, it's grandma. The attack that we're under is so great. It's not culturally accepted to say you're black and a Republican. It's not culturally accepted to say you're black and you're voting for Trump even. So I don't agree. D?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty willing to bet a substantial amount of money that last election was the last time Democrats get 90% of the black vote. I feel like moving forward, black people have woken up. They've really freed themselves from the plantation. Like Nora was just saying, if my grandmother knew that I had this Trump hat on or was a Trump supporter, she'd disown me, right? I'm going banned from the family. No more cookouts, no more breakfast. It's over, right? But it's not. It won't be that way soon because in my day-to-day life, I'm starting to see a lot of more Trump supporters. And I was born a Democrat. I didn't know why I was a Democrat. That's just the thing to do, in black families. They always told me, we're Democrats. Democrats support the black people. Democrats have been voting for, blacks have been voting for the Democrats at a 90+% rate for 70 years. And I am glad that this is going to be over. This is the last election. That was the last election that black people vote 90% for the Democrat Party. I can assure you that.
Great speech.
Yeah. So, Greg, when are you going to join the train?
Never. It will have to take a drastic. Listen, there are certain things the Republican Party says that I said, okay, I can agree with, and I'm agreeing with you guys with the fact that I tell people all the time. I said it here multiple times that Trump is my favorite Republican. Do I feel like there are going to be other Republicans that can mirror or kind of be as beneficial to the black community as Trump? I haven't seen it yet, but I have seen it become more diverse as the type of people who are become Republicans. So if you guys become politicians, I'll vote for y'all. Y'all be the first time I vote for Republicans.
I appreciate that.
Well, let us know what you think in the chat. I mean, this was a nice, fun video. Why are you a black Republican? And for those that are not black Republicans, why do you have an issue with black Republicans? I just really want to have an honest and healthy dialogue. Shouts out to everyone that commented on our Candace Owens video. We are really trying to grow our channel. We're a small channel. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button below. D, any closing words?
Nope. This was a great video. I want you guys, please comment down below. If you're black and your parents also told you that you were a Democrat, you didn't understand why. Let me know why you're a Democrat.
Yeah, let us know why and if you're not a Democrat, like Greg gave his explanation, never ever. I want to know why you're a never ever Republican. I mean, we want to have the conversation respectfully. So please share that like, share, subscribe button, and always vote.
Vote.
Always vote.
Always vote.